Good morning. It's my pleasure to present to you the investment thesis for PatenSee and demonstrate to you why we believe we are guarding the lifeline of dialysis patients. First, an explanation on dialysis. So Medicare spends over $50 billion managing 600,000 patients who go through a procedure that you see pictured here at least every other day, once every 48 hours, and for at least 3 to 4 hours per session. This is a commitment of these patients to maintaining their health. A critical piece of hemodialysis is maintaining a healthy vascular access. In essence, I need to have a method to filter the blood outside the body. So vascular access is the patient lifeline. There are a limited number of locations that you can have vascular access, very much prone to clotting, which is the issue that we address. And in order to address the clotting, you need to have routine monitoring. I don't think I need to explain to anybody what stenosis is, but it's a blockage. Thrombosis is an urgent need and needs to be addressed quickly and can be quite expensive. PatenSee will deliver the ability to predict stenosis in a timely manner, clinically relevant stenosis, and prevent emergency procedures. So what's the standard of care today? The standard of care today is a manual process called look, listen, and feel. It's painful to the patient, high risk of infection because you're contacting the area. There's a lot of variability in training between the different technicians who do it, and it's quite disruptive to the process. It takes up to 10 minutes. And because of all of the above, according to one of the leading providers of dialysis, less than 2% of patients today are receiving an appropriate level of monitoring. So what's the PatenSee solution? It's a non-contact, multimodal imaging system that will exactly replicate look, listen, feel, done in less than 2 minutes, will not disrupt patient workflow, and it will be accurate and consistent over time. So back to the current gold standard, it's difficult for technicians to remember what they did in the prior session, whereas computers are much better than that than we are. And again, we will predict stenosis in a timely basis for cost-effective intervention. So here's our technology. Again, using a multimodal system to replicate, look, listen, and feel. This is some of the data. So in partnership with Fresenius, the largest provider of clinics as well as equipment in the dialysis space, from a couple of sites at Fresenius in Israel. So look is a visual image whereby we can measure changes in volume to replicate sort of the arm raise, which is typical in the manual process. And then look, listen, and feel is comparing our non-contact system's ability to listen the same way a technician does and compared to an acoustic stethoscope. And we're showing amazing results. We're showing about a 90% correlation between those two endpoints. Gives us great confidence. We do have some additional data for anyone that's interested after this session to give us great confidence in our ability to predict stenosis. So this is a very, very large market. So the overall, as I mentioned earlier, is $50 billion to manage these patients. Specifically for vascular access repair, this is a $5 billion market. We believe by implementing our technology, we would be able to pull almost $2 billion of those costs out of the system, saving roughly $3,000 per patient. Realize the incidence of this is significant. So 70% of patients have a primary patency loss issue in the first year. So most patients are experiencing this issue in the first year of dialysis. So our business model is really quite simple. With the advancement in accountable care organizations, especially in dialysis, We estimate that roughly 50% of patients or so are on some form of accountable care plan. And we all know these organizations are built to improve outcomes and reduce costs. And we exactly fit that model. These accountable care organizations then will implement these in the clinics. In addition, the clinics will be motivated to apply this technology. It will improve their quality outcomes and hopefully improve their reimbursement. Our business model is really quite simple. It'll be a software, basically a subscription model. We're estimating $100 per month. Very attractive margins from a PatenSee perspective, and it's less than about a third of the cost that we'll pull out of the system will be recovered by PatenSee. Very thorough patent portfolio, all pending. We did have notification from Japan and that the patent will be granted, and the claims look fantastic. So if that continues, we will be in excellent shape. From a competition perspective, PatenSee is the only one looking to replicate look, listen, feel. This has been a difficult, ongoing problem to solve for a significant period of time. For example, Vascular has been on the market for about 20 years, and so far has been unsuccessful in making any great penetration into the market. I will also mention Alio. So they're more in the remote patient monitoring space, but the patient needs to actually attach the device to the fistula area, which is painful and causes increased risk of infection. So we believe we are well positioned to dominate this market once we get to commercialization. We have a very, very strong team. We got a balance of team in Israel coming out of the very successful Medtech incubator. A number of those folks, Shai and Gal, are on the board of directors. Hagai Drori is a founder and very much involved in the organization. I'm a multiple CEO here in the US, exited the company about 3 years ago and anxious to jump back in here. Mr. Wesley comes from the MSU Foundation, who led the most recent $2 million close that we just closed last month. I will mention our algorithms expert, Ken, is fantastic, and he is an expert in this space. Gives us great confidence that we will be able to deliver on this proposition. Some excellent advisors. Dr. Locke is basically the world-renowned leading expert on vascular access and how to manage it and prolong them. She's out of the U of T. And Alan Nissen is the ex-CMO of DaVita. Very, very strong value proposition, covering all stakeholders, both patients, payers, providers, So wrapping up here, so why are we here? We just closed $2 million. Really looking towards a Series A at the early part of 2026 of about $5 million. The current $2 million will allow us to launch several or extend our clinical trial into the US. We're looking at Henry Ford and some other sites here in the US. The Series A will then fund the critical trial to demonstrate the algorithm in being able to predict stenosis in patients undergoing hemodialysis. Thank you.